Horace the Avenger and get rich doing it. There's no copyrights here. One of the difficulties is you have a conscience. Yes, you want to thank us, and that's fine for your local white or that's fine for your favorite group you send donations to, but that's not what we do. We make you look like, you know, if you want to be a political animal, if you want to be a political superstar, you have to have superstar talking points. That's kind of common sense. So the way they made Obama look like a superstar is simply he had good stuff. We understand that. But that's what you have. Many people have been afraid to use Bob's stuff because they figure if they use it, everyone knows it's Bob's and they got to give him credit, or they're hesitant using it. Well, that's the antithesis of what we need you to do. And one of the challenges, there are so few leaders out there in front. What you see is what you get. Wonderful thing about Bob is he is what you see is what you get. You can do your homework on him. You can't necessarily do your homework on me if you know my name. But that's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. You can do your homework on Bob. You can come to a conclusion whether or not it's good, whether or not you want to use them. You can try them. If you try them, you'll figure out this stuff works. This is like hitting rabbits over the head with a carrot. It does what we're conditioning. That's what we're doing. But it is the antithesis of what you are used to doing. And so we understand that, and I want to make you aware of that. You can use this stuff in any way you see fit to promote, to get out the message of an attempt at genocide. And basically, one of the ways a consistent message is important is let's go to an event everyone on the planet knows about, American Revolution. In the American Revolution, Thomas Paine had common sense. You know, all the idealism goes to the second page. Common sense goes first. The consistent message, the talking points based on common sense goes first. We have a couple Thomas Paines actually. One you can find out about, Mr. Whitaker. Others you won't. But all you need to know is you have a common sense, the mantra. The technology behind how it works and why it works is just sound, saying it over and over again. The different talking points and whatnot. It's just a matter of repetition. But you have that. The reason it works is because it basically crystallizes a network. Right now, all across the globe, it doesn't matter what your group is or what group you like to or what leader you like listening to. There's no consistent message first. In other words, you have to put a consistent message first to play baseball effectively. You have to put common sense in front of the greedy businessman. You know, some of the businessmen in the Revolution, even Hallmark names, only wanted property from the Indians, or only wanted they were sick of loyalists. They wanted better business deals with Europe. That happened in the American Revolution. Sure, they're not all wonderful. Thomas Paine was very, very radical. He just wanted a revolution, but that revolution first starts on a mental level. It doesn't matter whether you're dealing steel, playing basketball, getting out and dealing steel against rabbits, or it's a full-on, full-spectrum type of velvet revolution or political revolution on some level. You have to have a consistent message. That's where it all begins. So what I want you to do is I want you to use the mantra in any way you see fit. You can make it your own. I'd prefer you just copy and paste it and use it. Use the talking points. You can make them your own, or you can. I don't care. But you must be on a consistent message. It does two things. It crystallizes the network. It puts your idealism, it actually brings your idealism to the forefront. Why? Because it advertises to everyone looking at you that you play baseball. You understand that? When the greedy businessmen in the American Revolution decided they needed to get on board with Thomas Paine, they needed to go ahead and fund that, or they needed to put common sense in front of or use it. A lot of them use that type of stuff to get better business deals. Hey, we went with your revolution, now we want better. That's fine. They used it greedily to promote themselves. But by promoting common sense, by promoting Thomas Paine's message, they also promoted themselves in the process. So anytime you promote the mantra, anytime you promote our talking points, you not only advertise you play baseball, that you're not hard-headed, and you can be hard-headed when it comes to business or whatever, but what it says is you're on a baseball team, and you're advertising that. Yeah, I mean, if you're just saying, pushing out statistics on black crime from AmRen, that's fine. American Renaissance, that's fine. If you're pushing that out with a mantra, with our stuff, with your consistent message, you're advertising that you play baseball. And that's why it's important. It crystallizes a network. And crystallization, let's see what it, a lot of Europeans don't understand these English terms, so let me go into it. A homogeneous solid, this is the definition of crystallization. A homogeneous solid formed by repeating three-dimensional pattern of atoms, ions, or molecules and having fixed distances between constituent parts. The important part of it is to make or become definitive or clear. To make or become definitive or clear. That's what we're doing. We're crystallizing a message. Once the message crystallized, the whole entire network comes together. It doesn't matter your idealism. Someone was talking to someone on Whitaker Online about a white living space. These are very common in somewhere like America because there's a lot of land. A white living space in the Northeast or a white living space in the Midwest. Don't have a problem with that. White rabbits need a home. Why? There's an attempt at genocide against them. Right? So you put the mantra first. You can easily just copy and paste the mantra on that web page. That's fine. But what you're doing when you do that, your idealism, you're saying our idealism is important. Our ideal is important, but we're also baseball players. If you have a talk show like Truck Roy has a talk show. He's basically melding in a consistent message. Now he's putting his own spin on it. He's making it his own. He's making the talking points his own to some extent. He'll probably make the mantra his own to some extent. Another group that already does this is the Political Cesspool. The Political Cesspool is the only legitimate conservative radio show in North America. Why is it the only legitimate conservative radio show in North America? Because they're on a consistent message. So they become legitimate in our eyes. Yes, the people that run Political Cesspool, what is his name? He has a blog actually, and James Edwards. James Edwards runs the Political Cesspool, and he's a commentator. He's on a mantra style consistent message. Does that mean he goes over it every day on the show? No. Does that mean he works it in when he can? Yes. That means everything's race, race, race. And his show is always about promoting pointing out double standards. It doesn't matter whether it's the Jews, he's going to name it. It doesn't matter whether it's liberals or even conservatives. He's easy, hard on everybody, but he's going to come back to a consistent message. He's going to be on a mantra-style message. And that's why he's going to get supported. Truck Roy gets on a mantra. He comes on a consistent message. That's just how it works. You're advertising you play baseball. Basketball's another game. I'll get to basketball in a few minutes. But I've already spent enough time telling you that that's not the game going. You got to play baseball. But to even start playing baseball, you got to have a consistent message, and you got to come up to bat, and you got to advertise that. You advertise that by being on a consistent message. There are many ways to go about it. I'm giving you a what you see is what you get. When you get into Rush Limbaugh gets Republican talking points all the time. He doesn't necessarily do the standard ones. He makes them his own. Bill Clinton was a legend for doing that on the fly. You can make any of this your own. You can stick to the basics. In your opinion, I'm a racist. You're just saying it because I'm white. Anti-racism is a code word for anti-white. Every time you do that, you help out white rabbits. Our side is always underestimated sound. The average human being on this planet has underestimated sound. But in your whole entire life, you've been controlled by sound. Every time someone screams racist, your hair crawls and you sit back and be quiet. That's pretty powerful. Sound is everything. But of course, everything has to be timed. The biggest frustration when you're dealing with Anglosphere and some parts of Europe is a level of demoralization. In America, it took 15 years just to neutralize it. And there's two ways to neutralize a demoralized society, a society that is basically under psychological warfare. You would use the term brainwash, but heavy-duty psychological warfare. The two ways are, of course, you get in power and you change the textbooks. That didn't happen. But there's another way. You can have a radical new technology that just destroys it. And anytime you get a new technology, demoralization halts. It comes to complete halt. Anytime you get a new technology, active measures, any type of psychological warfare will just get jammed. True information starts seeping in. When that happens, you put the clock on it. You put the clock on it. If you have something you really can't talk about, like the Hebrews, like the Jews, look out. It's gonna suck to that new information for them, right? Isn't that what happened? But it takes that long. 93, 95, I say 93, so by 2008, you're starting to hear this. Right now you're hearing me. Well, it's time. But it takes that long. That's how toxic